We're going to Lockdown 2 Electric Avenue. As the UK and several other countries circle the wagons and close up shop once more to prevent the second wave from taking hold, it makes us think, what are we going to do differently in lockdown this time around? Maybe we'll drink less, maybe we won't give ourselves such a hard time for drinking more, and maybe we'll finally get into pyromancy. But one thing we at Phenomenas want you to do is play better virtual games. I refuse to do any more of Susan's quizzes. I don't care if they took her all day to put together. That's heartbreaking enough. So instead of endless games of heads up, scavenger hunts where instead of hunting you just hide off camera so you don't have to hear anyone else saying, yeah, we're doing as best we can anymore, or video calls where everyone has to, I don't know, wear a hat. Here's some board games which are not terrible, work brilliantly online, and hey, most of them are free. This is a collection starter, and here are 10 board games you can play over Zoom that aren't awful. Also, in return for all these lovely free games, please do consider hitting that like and subscribe button as it really helps out the channel. And make sure you watch Phenomenas, where we're going to start playing some of these games on a weekly basis. Number 10, Say Anything. So if lockdown has taught us anything, it's you can make a bootleg copy of most party games. So before we start, we feel we should say, if you really like any of the games on this list, when lockdown is over, please consider buying them. That being said, you can play Say Anything with some pens, some paper, and just make up some questions. But there is a website link to a bunch of them. One person asked a question, for example, what will be most likely my last words? Then waits as everyone writes an answer down. They're all read out. Some will be mean, some will be profound, most will be funny. The question asker secretly writes down the name of the person whose answer they like the best. Then everyone else has 2 votes to guess who was picked. If your answer was picked the best, you get a point, and everyone else who voted for your answer also gets a point. Simple, addictive, and as funny or sweet or cruel as your players dictate. Number 9, Wavelength. I'll always advise people to buy a physical copy of Wavelink because it's so pretty, but there's a free version you can play online using a website and screen sharing. Links to all the websites you need are in this video description, BT dubs. In the game, everyone is in 2 teams. One member of a team gets a range-based prompt like dangerous to safe. Everyone closes their eyes as that team member peeks at where in the range points for their team can be found. The most points are in the middle of that range. Then they close the dial and then give their team a clue which hopefully leads them to pick that spot on the dial where the most points are. For example, with dangerous to safe, if I wanted to make my team guess dangerous but not all the way dangerous, I might say eating expired ham, or breaking my leg before being shipped off to war, or criticizing Nana's casserole. It's a really fun game for starting arguments, and after all, what are Zoom calls with your family about? More than that. Number 8, Codenames. Another fantastic party game that's got a fantastic free emulator online. In Codenames, you're split into 2 teams again, each with a single spy master. There's a grid of words on screen, and the spy masters will know which words belong to which team, and will have to give their team clues in order for them to guess all of their words without them also guessing words for the other team, or the dreaded assassin word, which will lose them the game. Again, it's all about trying to get in the heads of the people you're playing with, tailoring your clues to the way they think, which is a terrifying prospect with Uncle Trevor. The bickering is fun, the feeling of triumph when your team guesses correctly is perfectly replicated online, plus the website shuffles all the words for you, so in some ways, it's better. Feels dirty to say that. Number 7, Spyfall. By the time this video goes out, I'm sure that no one will be playing Among Us anymore, and I will have shown myself to be out of touch yet again. I don't care what you say, I think yo-yos are coming back. Even if Among Us, which is basically werewolf in space but also with chores, is still popular, you can replicate that experience of equal parts suspicion and laughter with Spyfall. Everyone logs onto a website on their desktop or phone if they're sharing a screen. When the game starts, you'll either know where you are and all the good guys are in the same place, or you'll be told you're the spy. Then an 8-minute timer starts and you have to go around asking each other questions. Using these questions, good guys have to confirm to each other they're good without giving the location away, and the spy has to work out which location they're in without giving away the fact they're pulling answers out of their perfectly formed ass Casino Royale reference. Number 6, In a Bind or Yogi. Hooray, a new game we haven't talked about on a list before. New content, FTW. In a Bind or Yogi, they're the same game, same designer, so whichever you can get a copy of, is a game you need to buy in order to play, but you only need to buy 1 copy of it. Everyone else can play with a cheap deck of playing cards. One person will need to be Games Master. Every turn, the Games Master who owns the game takes a new card from the deck and reads it aloud, and whoever's turn it is has to do that thing and keep doing it. Simple as that. It's like Twister. Sometimes the card just requires allows you to do a thing like touch your neck with your finger or touching your stomach with your arm. Other things say stuff like this card touching eyebrow, at which point the player takes the card from their deck of playing cards and touches it to their eyebrow. Some say every time you get a new card, you have to wave at everyone. It builds and builds as people start normal but slowly become curled, misshapen husks of people, arms akimbo, painfully waving at everyone whilst also covered in cards. You make a mistake, you go out, but if anything, being eliminated is a relief as you bust a gut watching the remaining players struggle to survive. Number 5, snake oil. Something for the extroverts now, those poor souls. Snake Oil is a party game all about talking, and more specifically, selling. Each turn, one of you will be the customer, but not just any customer. Based on a random draw, you might be a cowboy or an executioner. Everyone else has a hand of cards with single words on them. You take 2 of those words and put them together to make a product like diet money, masturbation wall, or safety bed. You've got 30 seconds to pitch your product out loud and try and explain why your diet money is just the thing that this cowboy was needing. After all the pitches have been made, the customer awards the points to whoever did the best, and you keep going till everyone's been the customer once, or twice, or however long you just want to play it. It's easy. The makers of the game have uploaded their own online version for people to use, with 2 versions, normal and family friendly, in case you're not quite in the right place to hear Gram pitch the benefits of a masturbation wall. Number 4, wits and wages. As we covered in our list of great party games, Wits and Wages is a fantastic trivia game for people who don't know any trivia. And it also has a great free online version you can screen share that actually runs all of the game's admin for you. A question is read out which has a number-based answer. Everyone writes down their answer on a piece of paper. Everyone shows their paper to the camera at the same time. Whoever's hosting types all their answers into the site. Then these answers are arranged on the board, and instead of doing well by getting the answer right yourself, you instead get way more points by gambling on which of the answers you think is closest to the right one. Way more inclusive than most trivia games, and a huge amount of fun to win big on guessing how much Grandpa knows about average rainfall in the UK, because spoiler, he knows everything about average rainfall in the UK because spoiler, he's a lonely man. Number 3, Just One. This game can literally be played using a random noun generator and some pens and paper, but again, please buy the game. The people who made it are ever so nice. Just One can be played over a virtual call super easily. One person screen shares a noun generator, whilst one person, the guesser, closes their eyes. Once everyone else knows the one random word, they all have to write down a clue which will help the guesser successfully guess that word. However, if anyone has written the same clue as someone else, both those clues are destroyed until only unique ones are left. Then the guesser opens their eyes and tries to guess the word using the diminished number of clues. This means that people have to avoid writing obvious clues like, quote, basic bitches, but then the clue might be too cryptic for the guesser to guess. Or maybe someone double bluffs by thinking, oh, no one's actually going to write this clue because this one's too obvious, so I'll write it and seem like a genius. But then everyone else thinks that, and you all write the same clue, you monsters. Everyone works together and points couldn't possibly matter in this game, so just keep playing until it's not fun anymore. But be warned, that may take some time. Number 2, Skull. Considering that Skull was originally a game played with beer coasters and playing cards, it's fairly simple to homebrew a game to be played over Zoom. Everyone has 4 small pieces of paper. On one of the pieces of paper, you draw a skull. You have now made a game of Skull. Congratulations, your arts and craft badge is on its way. The game itself is a deadly little mix of bluff and confidence. Everyone puts one of their pieces of paper face down on the table in front of them, either blank or a skull. Their choice. Then players take turns, and on your turn you can either choose to put down another one of your cards secretly on your individual pile, or you can start the betting. When the betting starts, all players put their unplayed cards to one side, and it goes around like an auction, with players stating how many cards on the table they think they can turn over without finding a skull. You might say, I can turn over 4. Sally raises that to 5. Jeff passes. You raise to 6. Sally passes, so now you have to turn over 6 cards. However, you have to start with all your own cards first. So if you bluffed by betting high while there was also a skull in your pile on the table, you're out of luck, cowboy. If you fail, you lose one of your cards at random. If you lose all your cards, you're out. If you succeed, well done. Once a player succeeds twice, they've won the whole game. It's all about getting in each other's head. Putting a skull as the top card on your pile, then trying to convince everyone you've got nothing but blanks. So they pick yours, and then you laugh. You laugh at them, and then they say, yeah, all right, and then you laugh some more, and then they leave the chat, and suddenly Thanksgiving's ruined. And number 1, bobbins and bobbins. I love this game. It's a homebrew created for the Mark and Lard breakfast show on Radio 1 in the 90s. It's not officially released by any publisher, but it's definitely the game I've played the most online during lockdown. It's similar to Balderdash, but about horses. One player runs the game and everyone sends them a list of 5 made-up horse names via private message. Horses have stupid names, you see, like Chauncey's Marmalade, Steady as She Goes, Private Zeus, or Fancy Boy's Regret. Then the person running the game goes online and finds 5 real horse names. Then the game is divided into 5 rounds. Each one involves the game runner reading out one of the fake names from each player, as well as the real one randomly mixed in there. Then everyone writes down which horse they think is real. If you find the right one, that's 3 points, and if someone else guesses yours is the right one, you get a bonus point. After the 5th round, whoever has the most points wins. It's so simple, but so funny, and best of all, it's a system that can be modded to whatever your group is interested in. Instead of horse names, maybe play with obscure horror movie titles, or wrestlers, or maybe grab a book off your shelf and have everyone guess what the first line is from only the book cover. It's absolutely wonderful, and you have no reason why you should ever have another boring Zoom call during lockdown. Stay safe, everyone. Let's get through this together. And that's our list. What games have been keeping you sane during lockdown? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and share this video around. And if you like this content, please remember to subscribe to Phenomenons. It really helps us out, and stay tuned for more great content. Get on board.